One of the moments in the Pokémon anime that fills fans with all sorts of thoughts is when someone hears someone else call it the anime and now needs to say it's not an anime. The other part of the anime that really gets you excited is when Ash catches a brand new Pokémon to add to his team. As of today, he has caught a total of 57 different Pokémon. While that is quite a big number for someone like Ash, we looked at every one of those moments to find the catches that would top the charts in terms of how great they were to witness, and the ones that some might even say, wow, those catches were the most legendary moments in the anime. We'll be going over and showing off the top 10 most legendary catches by Ash in Pokémon, and talking about just how great those 10 moments in the anime were. Hope you enjoy the top 10 legendary catches by Ash in Pokémon. Number 10. Caterpie. The first Pokemon to make it onto this list is the first ever Pokemon that Ash caught. While looking back, it might just seem like a simple catch, but it was a legendary moment because it was the first time any of us who were born fast enough got to see Ash capture the first Pokemon through a wild encounter. The best part about this capture was the cliffhanger. The first episode where Ash encounters Caterpie has him setting his sights on it to try and catch it, and then the episode ends. All that time waiting for the next episode, the suspense, and getting to see it finally start with Ash going in for that first ever catch brought a glimmer to my young 2020 vision eyes. Let's just go through the details of this all. Quick hat turning for the first time capturing a Pokemon. Oh, look at the confidence in his eyes. He has no regrets leaving home as a 10-year-old. Zoom into the right eye before we quickly zoom out to his purely confident stance. Full extension of the arm. Oh, didn't stretch though, that'll be sore later. And the quickest fling of the wrist you've ever seen for a lunge. Ball is going through the air, its speed's unmatched, and right there within about 2 non-social distancing feet away, the ball somehow loses speed and only lightly taps this Caterpie on the head. What a shocker, I thought that would knock it clean into a new dimension. Luckily it doesn't, and we see the repeat, and one of the most dramatic captures in Pokemon history as the ball hitting Caterpie's head replays 3 times until the lighting goes away. Even though it's daylight and now it's dark. Caterpie is captured and goes on to rock back and forth with suspense before it finally belongs to Ash. Number 9. Crocora. Ash's crocodile has a very loving story, as it started out as a Sandile in the 3rd episode of the Black and White series as a leader of a group of other Sandile that tried to cause trouble to save the other Pokemon of the area from an erupting geyser. Sandile was the leader of the group, which you could tell from its stylish shades, just like Ash's Squirtle in the Squirtle Squad before it. What made this so great was the long episode after episode story that brought Ash to capturing it. After it teamed up with Ash and friends to save the Pokemon from the geyser, it decided to follow Ash around the Unova region and became a consistent character to appear, meeting Ash a few times. It eventually evolved into a Crocorock during a battle with Ash's Pikachu that it ended up losing, but even after a loss, it didn't give up. It came across Ash once again after a long hiatus and asked for a rematch, which blew each other up, causing the two to go flying. Luckily, Crocorock finds Ash, and the two of them go together to locate Pikachu and show the many places it followed Ash for this rematch. After finding Pikachu, they continue the battle with their stalker, and yet again Pikachu becomes victorious. Crocorock becomes rather depressed from losing and starts to walk away. But Ash remembers the words of Sun Tzu's teaching, and remembers that the best way to defeat an enemy who is spying on you is to offer comfortable housing and turn them into converted spies. He approaches Crocorock, asks if it wants to join his team after the ruthless battles, and happily, this Crocorock joins. Number 8. Noctal. While Noctal may have been pretty similar to most catches, as it went something like man sees bird, bird sees man teams with bird as people in Blimp try to steal man's mouse and bird, man and bird fight back, Blimp gets popped. Was it a good year? No, it was the worst for them. And after all of that, Ash catches this bird fairly reasonably by him being challenged by it to a fight. However, the best part about this is that Ash catches the first ever shiny Pokemon that appears on the show. If you've seen shiny hunters react to when they catch a shiny Pokemon, then you can usually hear them saying how legendary of a moment this is for them.
Oh, we got it! Oh my god, we got it!
And for any of you who have caught a shiny Pokemon, then you know just how much that means. seeing Ash catch a shiny Pokemon not only led to such a great moment, but also likely led to a lot of shiny hunters appearing both on Twitch and YouTube, grinding day in and day out to one day just be like a young child in a forest with a differently colored owl. Number 7. Gengar. Ash catching a Gengar really added a lot to the series, as everyone remembers the time Ash babysat a Haunter for a little bit, but never had it join his team. 7 generations later, he finally caught the full evolution of that Pokemon with a very storied tale. Gengar's old trainer abandoned it in the building because it believed Gengar was causing him bad luck, and as the trusty Gengar it was, Gengar waited for that trainer in an abandoned building until he came back. The trainer never did come back even after the years of waiting, which enraged Gengar. Luckily, Ash is unlucky in every single aspect, so this wouldn't bother him, but Gengar decided to haunt the building that would become the lab where Ash and Go were working, and even made its presence known, and deflected any Pokeball thrown at it. There were quite a few encounters between Ash and Gengar, with Ash having his own stroke of bad luck, which people believe was due to Gengar laying a curse on him, even though it was just following Ash in his shadow. But eventually Ash decides enough is enough. I'm gonna do cardio today to feel better, just like every 10-step how to feel better article tells you to do. And without knowing it, runs into town, taking Gengar with him in his shadow, and bumps into Gengar's old trainer. After seeing its old trainer, Gengar runs away into another Team Rocket filler arc as they try to capture it. But just like that, coincidentally at the right time, Ash comes to save it and asks for Gengar's help to defeat them. After Ash passes out and realizes he actually just has a fever, Gengar brings a little apple to Ash so he would feel better. Even a Pokeball for Ash to catch him, and bringing a loving end to this tale of Ash and his new Gengar. Number 6. Charmander and Chimchar. Speaking of abandonment issues, another catch from Ash Ketchum that was always seen as a legendary moment, just like Gengar, was when he helped another Pokemon abandoned by his trainer. The most memorable one out of all of those would have to be Charmander, as it sat upon a rock waiting for his trainer to return, with Spearows attacking it and even the rain pouring down on it with only a little leaf above its tail, as the lore behind Charmander is that if the fire on its tail goes out, then the Amish can't see during the night. Also, it dies. Chimchar also had the same story, however it showed the background day after day of it being hurt by Paul before Ash finally came to its rescue. Both of these Pokemon were saved by Ash, and while each were very different from one another, they both fit into this spot as Ash saved both of these fire starters in the same way and turned them into some of the most memorable fire Pokemon on his team. Adopting pets from wrongful owners is legendary. Honorable mention, Tauros. A lot of you might not know exactly how Ash caught all 30 of his Tauros, but when I was playing through Pokemon Ash Gray, I wanted to watch every episode that I was playing through before I played through it. And as the typical tryhard I was, I watched the sub-episodes as well, just to see how the show was in Japanese. The reason this is an honorable mention, and only in the half point of the video, not actually ranked, is because this episode was banned due to one of the characters pointing a gun at Ash. Unfortunately, Photoshop wasn't updated on their computers just yet, so they couldn't do what they did to Yu-Gi-Oh! And just make it invisible. But nevertheless, in one of the most unique ways that Ash had caught a Pokemon that deserved the smile it put on my face. He did go out and try to catch a Tauros, and did as the first Pokemon in there. However, every time he tried to catch any other Pokemon, another wild Tauros would run in front of the ball he was throwing and go into that ball. Anytime Ash saw a Pokemon he wanted, another Tauros would appear. And this happened until he caught a total of only 30 Tauros and no other Pokemon. It was sillier, but legendary nonetheless, as it was a really cheerful episode, banned and all, that showed a different way of Ash catching Pokemon. It was also one I wanted to mention because I know a lot of people didn't get to see this episode due to the ban, and were probably like me when he threw out his Tauros into battle and thought you must have just forgotten that episode. Don't worry, it wasn't your fault, it was the media. Number 5. Rowlet. One of my personal favorite Pokemon, both of Ash and in general, joins Ash's team in a very loving way. Ash meets Rowlet after it was sent to get some berries for Toucannon. Rowlet grew up in a little flock of Pikipek that was led by a Toucannon and Trumbeat, who took it in as their own. It's sort of like the ugly duckling, except Rowlet is the cutest one there, so it's nothing like that. The little owl sees Mallow's Bond Sweet and mistakes it for a berry in its attempt to bring back food to the nest, and gets so tired trying to capture the fruit countless times to no avail, and falls out of the sky in exhaustion, almost hitting the ground before its Prince Charming, Ash, sees this and jumps to its rescue, catching it before it hits the ground. Ash even gave Rowlet some food and tries to ask Rowlet to join him on his journey, but upon seeing the new Sun and Moon artwork that Ash is in, Rowlet politely leaves and takes the watermelon back to Toucan and friends. But with very little time passing, guess who's here? It's Team Rocket trying to attack Rowlet's nest and steal the food as well as capturing the Pokemon. Ash and friends, along with Rowlet, fought off Team Rocket as well as freed its friends. Rowlet even saves Pikachu from Jesse's Mimikyu's attack. Ash thanks Rowlet for saving the day before saying goodbye, as he didn't want to separate Rowlet from its family. But upon seeing how sad this best Pokemon in the world was, Toucan gave Rowlet permission to leave the nest, which Rowlet happily accepts, and it cheerfully dives into Ash's backpack and waves goodbye. Number 4. Poiple. Ash catching Poiple was not only legendary for how it was captured, but also how unique of a Pokemon this was to join Ash's team. Poiple having cute moments with Pikachu, and all their first moments together, leading into it wanting to be a part of their family, was an overall amazing experience to watch. But the final capture of Poiple is what really made this legendary. Even though Poiple wanted to join the team, it didn't know how Pokeballs worked, and Ash had to teach Poiple how a Pokeball works so it can join his team, as it evaded every Beast Ball thrown at it. Ash even teaches it using Rowlet as an example to teach it how to go into a ball. It was a really different type of Pokemon to see on Ash's team that led to a lot of great memories, and with that different way of being captured compared to most of Ash's Pokemon, it definitely left its mark on this list. Number 3. Froakie. Froakie was a very storied Pokemon throughout all of Ash's journeys, and one of his most popular starter Pokemon. The entire story around Ash and Froakie encountering each other on his first day of Kalos led to an amazing journey together, as it was his main and only Gen 6 starter Pokemon in this generation, and one that had a long-lasting bond, till it left him. Froakie observed the group throughout the episode, and also wasn't the only capture in this episode, as Team Rocket swoops in again, trying to capture the moment during a battle between Ash and Clement. Froakie stopped observing and offered to help Ash by fighting against Team Rocket, but was damaged in the process. Luckily, Ash, as the caring person he is, brought it to Sycamore's lab to restore it to full health. It turns out that Froakie already had a trainer, and they called to give Froakie back to them. But we've seen this before with probably another Paul. After another altercation with Team Rocket, and Froakie coming in to help Ash and friends, it knows the team it must join. The next day it tries to get Ash's attention, and in the cutest little nose push, it rolls a Pokeball over to Ash, desiring to join his party. When Ash finally approves, Froakie presses the button itself and catches itself for the team. That's one of the greatest captures. Ash didn't even need to shoot his shot. Number 2. Dragonite. Seeing that Ash was catching Pokemon from previous generations again brought a huge smile to my face. And on top of that, of all the Pokemon for him to catch first in this new series, he actually caught a fully evolved Dragonite. It was just amazing to see him capture another pseudo-legendary Pokemon, and it was also the fact that he was going to have this lovable creature on his team and with him forever. Ash managed to forge a bond with Dragonite that when he asked for it to join his team, Dragonite hugged him so hard and whispered in his ear, "It's my team now." And rightfully so, because with a Pokemon with as much personality as Dragonite, you know fun times were ahead of you in this Champion Edition series of Pokemon. After seeing the many Dragonite in this series, it was amazing to see Ash be able to capture it at its final stage of evolution with how highly regarded this Pokemon was. We also didn't have to wait day after day to see it evolve, which, although a lot of people might like, it was just really awesome to experience watching Ash's new journey start, and for him to just kick things off with a fully evolved third stage Pokemon at the beginning, and one that was incredibly unexpected, making Dragonite the second most legendary capture during Ash's journey. Number 1. Riolu. One of the most impeccable additions to Ash's team, and one of the most exciting members, is his Lucario. What made this capture so special was the fact that when it was just an egg, everyone who was watching the series was guessing it was a Riolu. There were little hints everywhere for this capture as well that made it more exciting and was never before seen. There were Riolu events in Pokemon Go and Sword and Shield, and everyone thought that must mean that Ash was getting his first Lucario from this egg. This led a lot of fans on social media to hype up the episode for when it would finally hatch, so they could say, "Look, I knew it." It was just an overall positive time seeing everyone so excited, and the cliffhanger of waiting for it to finally confirm he would have this Pokemon that we'd all been waiting for made it such a memorable experience for anyone watching. It even had a lot of story to it as well, seeing as the egg had sensed a strong aura, and Ash also felt as though the egg was calling for him. When it hatched, it didn't recognize Ash as having the same aura it had sensed and instantly ran away from the lab, attacking various wild Pokemon, much like a newborn child. Eventually it got into a battle with a Pokemon it couldn't deal with, and Ash came in to save it. Riolu finally sensed the aura it was looking for, as Ash brought Riolu back to the Pokemon Center to have it healed. And after all of that, it willingly joined Ash's team to bring even more power to his team of fully evolved Pokemon. I will say I was worried for a bit that they might pull another Gibble and leave it as a Riolu, but happily, it evolved into a Lucario to really round out and highlight Ash's new Generation 8 team.